YouTube and Racing Nuts Radio Network. I'm here with Charlie Kimball. Charlie, welcome to the Racing Nuts Show. I think this is the first time you've been on our show. Welcome to the show. You did a pretty good job at Texas, and you drive for the NTT Series, the INDYCAR Series, and you're driving for AJ Foyt this year. How does that feel?
It's pretty special. Driving for AJ, the first four-time winner of the Indy 500. There's a little, maybe extra pressure to try and perform for the boss, but at the same time, we're racers. We want to be out there doing well, and the fact that I'm back in the car full season this year, in the number 4 car all season long. Like you said, it started off well at Texas. We're trying to build on that momentum, head towards a rescheduled Indy 500 in August.
So you just got done with Texas. I noticed that you were running up in the top 7 most of the race, and you were up getting close to the front. What happened that made you guys finish in 11th? I know something drastic must have happened. What was it?
We had just a little bit of a fuel miscalculation between the pit stops, and it was a really strange race. Not only the one-day show because of the pandemic protocols, but also the fact that we were limited by Firestone because with the shutdowns, they weren't able to make the tires they wanted to bring to the racetrack.
Oh.
So we were limited to 35 racing laps on the tires. So we never went through a full tank of fuel. And, just like in an airplane, the fuel gauge is only accurate when it reads empty. In a race car, we can tell when it's full when you do a full fill on fuel, and you can tell when it's empty because that meter reads correctly. But when you're in the middle, sometimes it's hard to know exactly where you are.
So I was thinking maybe AJ was going to go fire the fuel guy or something. I didn't know, but really it's not the fuel guy's fault then, right?
It wasn't really anyone's fault. As a team, they felt badly that they had put me in that position where we weren't going to be in the top 10. We'd been competitive all night. I mean, Larry Foyt called me Monday morning. He goes, "Man, I've been eating up all day about what, what happened. We didn't get the result." And honestly, I think as a team, it's just made us hungrier to go out and get better and better results all year long.
Well, I think where you're going to have really good results, Charlie. I'm on with Charlie Kimball, drives for AJ Foyt, the number 4 car. I think where you're going to have some really good results is going to be on the road courses. That's what you really like, am I right?
It is, although I've seemed to come into my own at places like Texas and Indy. We've had some really good results there. But I got my first IndyCar win at Mid-Ohio on the road course. Right. I've had some really good results at Road America, which is a doubleheader this year.
Yeah.
And I think for the first couple of years of the Indianapolis Grand Prix, I had the best average finish. I think I finished 4th like 3 years in a row.
Well, this is good for you. Now, I don't know. Let's go back to Texas really quick. I'm not sure if you knew the history of Texas and how fast that track really is, and what happened in the Champ Car Series many years ago, where they had sold tickets already. The Champ Car cars went out there, and they went so fast, and the drivers experienced so much G-force that some of them started almost blacking out. So you still experience that at Texas, don't you?
You definitely feel the G loads. It's one of the higher G tracks we go to, and as a driver myself, one of the drivers that lives with type 1 diabetes every day. In fact, I'm the first licensed driver with diabetes to race in the Indy 500.
Yes, you are.
That G load is something that I train for specifically because my body physiology is different than any other driver on the grid.
Right. That must be something weird for you to have to experience, seeing as how you are the only diabetic and the only diabetic to ever run in the Indy 500. You're breaking records even though you have – I don't even consider that a handicap for you. That's why I never even brought it up, because you're doing fine with it.
Well, the cool thing about it, for me at least, from my side, is – I've been able to learn about my body and my physiology, and so I'm more effective when I'm training because my exercise physiologist works with my trainer, Jim Leo, and Alex Waney at PitFit. He works with my endocrinologist, Dr. Peters, works with my nutritionist. So not only am I doing everything I can to level the playing field, I'm trying to find an advantage because I know and understand how my body performs, just like the engineers work to make sure that they know how the car is going to perform.
You've got to perform at the same time, because especially if something like G-forces, are there other tracks where you experience that? Now, I know Indy is kind of flat when you do the 500. You don't experience the same kind of thing on a bank track that you do on a flat track, do you?
No, at Indy where it's pretty flat, you don't see that same G loading. It's obviously faster. It's the fastest track we go to all year. But somewhere like Iowa, that's only 7/8 of a mile, but we've got the road course short oval wings on, so we've got more downforce. We've got higher vertical and lateral load. As the tires degrade, that G-force falls off. But in qualifying for 2 laps, you got to hold your breath and hold on.
I know the feeling. I've been behind the wheels of quite a few race cars. I've been in race cars at Homestead Miami Speedway, and the way that it pushes you down inside, you think your straps are tight, but it sinks you down into the seat. And I've actually experienced it before. It must be tough with a super load doing 220 like you guys do in the IndyCar series.
Yeah, you almost have to just kind of settle into the seat. Part of it's really important to have a good, supportive, comfortable seat so that when you load up, you're able to kind of load into and feel every part of the seat and just kind of settle into that G-force load.
Right. It's really tough, and I'm glad to see you do this with the diabetes and all this stuff, and you don't let anything stand in your way. It's really great that you do that. Now, they just announced that they're going to have the championship race at St. Petersburg. The Racing Nuts Radio Network and Racing Nuts TV, we're working with IndyCar really closely and with Savoy Green to make sure that we can do a live show there. It'll probably be a 2-hour show, maybe a Saturday and Sunday show. I know that we have a bunch of tickets that we've already given away. Those will be honored for the race at St. Pete, and we'll get another stack of tickets after July starts up. We've already signed a deal with IndyCar to have more tickets to all the fans and stuff. So we're gonna get with you, and we're gonna have you be one of our guests over there at the live radio broadcast. If it's not interfering with any of your testing or any time on track, I want you to come over and spend some time with us on the Racing Nuts show there live in St. Petersburg.
That sounds great. I think it's awesome that we get to sort of put that crown on our championship season in a place like St. Petersburg, because when it usually starts the season, it feels like the first day of school, right? You go to the racetrack and you see everyone you haven't seen all off season, and sometimes you see them at test days, and sometimes you see them at the winter meetings and medicals and things like that. But when you're at the racetrack and the city embraces it so well, when it did get postponed this year because of the pandemic and everything going on, I felt so badly for the city, because they and the residents and the fans right there in St. Petersburg love and embrace it so much every year.
Well, the funny thing is, we're going to take a positive spin off of that, okay? Because we were under contract with the NHRA to do the Gainesville Gator Nationals. They ended up being on the same exact weekend. Now the Gainesville Gator Nationals are going to be in September, and St. Petersburg is going to be in October, so we can do both shows. So then it ended up being a plus for the Racing Nuts Radio Network and for Racing Nuts TV. So we're, on one hand, it was a negative, but now we're just glad that I think this is the second or third year in a row that they've come in conflict with each other. And 2 of my co-stars are Tony Schumacher and Antron Brown from the NHRA. So they're on my show like every other week. So I'm under contract with NHRA, and I had to go towards the NHRA, but I'm glad that I can cover both of you guys this year. And it's going to be exciting to see you down at St. Petersburg. What's really going to be exciting to see you on 4th of July at Indy on the road course. I believe you're going to go out there and take care of business and show these guys what's up.
I hope so. I had a really good meeting with my engineers over the last couple of days, talking with our partners at Chevy next week to get ready on the engine side for the race weekend. Again, it's kind of atypical without any fans. It's the place at Texas where I really noticed not having fans was how spooky it was after the national anthem. Because usually the national anthem, sports arenas, baseball, basketball, racing especially, there's so much respect and quiet. And then the end of the anthem, it's play ball, it's drivers to your cars, it's let's go racing, and the arena erupts.
And it was
except
so quiet.
It didn't. And it was so strange. So that will be different at Indy, but it's amazing. The fans at home will be able to tune in on NBC. It's going to be hosted by Mike Tirico. I mean, it's incredible for IndyCar to get this coverage as one of the first live sports back rolling again.
That's right. And we can't wait to see you guys back, and we can't wait for the fans to be able to come back. Have you heard anything about when that's going to happen yet?
So the current plan is the doubleheader at Road America. I mean, a doubleheader at Road America is awesome for us as drivers.
Elkhart Lake.
But the fact that we get to do it in front of fans, I mean, I heard yesterday that Road America has nearly 700 acres in the facility, in the 4.25 mile racetrack. So there's plenty of room for all of those fans to come and stay socially distant and manage those protocols and stay within their own comfort levels and still get to see a great motor race in a great venue.
And everybody be safe at the same time.
Exactly.
That is awesome. Okay, Charlie. So good luck with everything you're doing. We want to make sure we stay in touch with you throughout the season, and we're going to get you off and on. We love AJ Foyt Racing, and I think that you're a dynamic addition to it. You're going to have a young teammate coming up here pretty soon who's going to start racing with you, right? He's
Yeah,
got a limited schedule.
Yeah, Dalton Kellett is making his IndyCar debut next week at the Indy Road Course, July 4th weekend. He's a Canadian, so I don't know that it bothers him that it's July 4th. But he and I trained together at Pit Fit, like a lot of the IndyCar drivers. And Tony comes on, trains with us as well. And all just trying to keep up with Tony on the bike. He's incredibly strong on his bicycle. But Dalton is so excited, and I'm really looking forward to working with him, trying to mentor him and lend the benefit of my decade of experience in IndyCar.
Well, he's going to be on the Racing Nuts Radio Network next Monday. We've already worked all that out, so we wanted to get him on a week before the race starts, and he'll be his first race in the IndyCar series that he's going to be,
Awesome.
racing for AJ, and we're really excited to see him. We're excited to see you. We're glad you got yourself a full-time ride there with AJ, and I think it's going to work out really good for you this season, especially with the slight bit of mentorship that you're passing down. You're also getting some from Tony Kanaan at the same time.
Absolutely. Being a teammate with Tony, especially in his last lap, feels like an honor to me. We were teammates at Chip Ganassi Racing. We've been friends. Our wives are friends. It's really special to be a part of his last lap. And I hope that because this season is so disrupted, as a race fan, I hope he finds a way to continue in the sport. If it's in the broadcast booth, if it's in race control, some way, I hope he stays around the sport because he's given so much to IndyCar. I hope that the sport can continue to repay that one way or another.
Absolutely. He's a great guy. Make sure you let him know that you were on the Racing Nuts Radio Network. He's been on my show a million times. Being from Miami, both of us, he's always appearing on my show. So we've known Tony for many, many years. We hate to see him go, but we like to see new stars like you come in and take over the reins. And being with AJ, I hope it's a multi-year deal for you.
Well, we're working towards that. It's about taking care of business on the racetrack so we can take care of business in the offices.
Done, Charlie. You'll get it done. Charlie Kimball, thank you so much for being on the Racing Nuts Radio Network and Racing Nuts TV. We do appreciate it, and we'll stay in touch with you throughout the season as we get closer and closer to the big race at St. Pete.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being there.